What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be going over what I think should happen in The Flash Season 9 in order for it to be a really good ending for the show. So as we all know, at the end of The Flash Season 8, we got a little bit of a cliffhanger in regard to maybe Cobalt Blue. We saw a little bit of a blue crystal. So I think that's where Season 9 should start off. I think we should get the first 5 episodes of Season 9, I think should be related to Cobalt Blue. I think it could have been more, but obviously there's only going to be 13 episodes in the season. So I think if they do a Cobalt Blue for the first 5 episodes, I think that would work. And here's how I think it should go. So in order for what I want the rest of the season to look like, I'm going to have Cobalt Blue actually be Eddie Thawne. Now, how exactly is Cobalt Blue Eddie Thawne and why is he in 2049? I have a few theories as to, how that could actually make sense. The first thing is that, maybe we see a flashback of Eddie's quote-unquote death, but then we see maybe the singularity opened before. If you guys remember first of all, if you remember in the end of Season 1, Thawne would have probably killed everybody if Eddie Thawne didn't kill himself. So let's say Eddie still shot himself. Let's say he still shot himself and Thawne started to be erased from existence. But maybe as that singularity opened at the end of Season 1, what if Thawne, somehow saved Eddie before he could die and be erased from existence? I think that would definitely make sense. So then we could have Thawne be alive and the timeline, still be intact, and Eddie Thawne would be alive and he would return as Cobalt Blue. I think seeing a flashback to that would be really cool. And then I know a lot of you guys are just like, well, why would they change such a big scene from the show? Why would they just bring back Eddie Thawne? Now, here's what I have to say to that. They did use a big scene from Season 1 in Season 8 with Ronnie. They said that he was alive. Obviously, it didn't turn out to be that way, but he had all of us believing that he was Ronnie Raymond. So I think they could do something like that here, except this time it's actually Eddie Thawne and he is alive. Also, in Arrow Season 8, the final season of Arrow, they brought back so many characters and literally just said that they were alive just because of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like Tommy, Moira, all of them were brought back. So I think, if they've just brought back Eddie Thawne, I think they could do that too. Now, as for why Cobalt Blue would be in 2049, here's what I would have happen. I would think that Reverse Flash they could probably come up with some excuse by saying that Reverse Flash had to run to 2049 because that was the earliest time that they actually had equipment to actually save Eddie's life. I think something like that would actually make sense. And then, he's just been in 2049 ever since, just getting smarter and eventually just maybe being trained by Thawne too. I think that could be pretty interesting. And then he would eventually become Cobalt Blue. Now, even though Eddie would be alive because of the Reverse Flash, in these first 5 episodes, I really hope that they wouldn't actually incorporate Reverse Flash too much, because I have him coming in later in the season. But what I think could happen is maybe at the end, Team Flash just eventually convinces Eddie to stop killing people, to stop being a villain, and then he rejoins Team Flash or something like that. I think that could be cool. So now the Thawne that we would be seeing in these first 5 episodes would be the version of Thawne that initially was erased from existence in Season 1, not to be confused with the version that we saw in Season 2, Episode 11, the one that has not yet killed Barry's mother. I have that version returning later in the season, but for this version, I think what would be such an interesting scene, and would really show how much of an evil character Reverse Flash is if Eddie betrays him and goes on to Team Flash and Reverse Flash still kills him because he's so angry he doesn't even care if he dies. I think that would just show how evil Reverse Flash is, and that would be such a cool scene. So yeah, that Reverse Flash would be erased from existence again, but so would Eddie. Obviously, he would be dead. So then Cobalt Blue would be no more, as well as that original Season 1 Reverse Flash that we saw. Now, here's what I have happening next. So next we go on to episodes 6 through 8. So yeah, episodes 1 through 5 would be Cobalt Blue, a little bit of Reverse Flash in there as well, but mostly Cobalt Blue I think would be absolutely awesome. So episodes 6 through 8 I think should be a little bit of a fan service type of storyline, sort of like an interlude, except it wouldn't be that bad of an interlude. What I think should happen is Eric Wallace should bring that Zoom and Godspeed Destroy Central City headline to life. Now, Obviously, we don't know what Zoom's timeline looks like post-Crisis, so maybe he's still alive. I think they could definitely say that he's still alive. What I'd like to see is both Zoom and Godspeed in Argus, and maybe they team up, maybe with even Bloodwork, because Bloodwork is also in Argus. So then we'd have that Zoom and Godspeed destroy Central City headline, and maybe Bloodwork could, return and team up with them as well. So yeah, obviously there was a recent teaser to Bloodwork at the end of those Arrowverse comics that just basically showed him escaping, and then it said continued in the Flash Season 9. So I think if they ended up doing that here with him teaming up with Godspeed and Zoom, that would be so cool. Now, how would they be defeated? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe they save the character for potential spin-offs or something like that. I think that could be possible. And yeah, speaking of spin-offs, we have to keep in mind that one of these episodes for the Flash Season 9 could be like backdoor pilots. Maybe they're trying to do like a Tornado Twins type of spin-off with Bart and Nora. I think that would be pretty interesting. So yeah, maybe if they were trying to do a little spin-off of that, they could do a backdoor pilot. I think that could be kind of interesting. Now, as for episodes 9 through 13, aka the rest of the season, I think it should be sort of like Season 7 of Arrow, where we see like present-day events unfolding, but also flash forwards. But in this case, the flash forwards would be showing Reverse Flash's origin story in the future. However, in present day, we'd see Reverse Flash return probably at the end of episode 8, so at the end of that interlude with the Godspeed and Zoom and Bloodwork stuff. And then that would go into the next graphic novel, where Reverse Flash would be the main villain. Again, I'm really not a fan of the graphic novel approach. I think if they were to actually, if they had like the same showrunners as they did the first 3 seasons, I think they would have a full season of just the Flash and the Reverse Flash to end the season. What it should have been, if we're being honest, it should have been Flash and Reverse Flash in season 1, and then Flash and Reverse Flash in the final season. That's what it should have been. Yeah, sure, Reverse Flash can return here and there a few times, but I think it mostly should have just been season 1 and the final season. So yeah, as I said, we'd see this Reverse Flash origin. Now, the version of Reverse Flash that I think should return is the one that we saw in Season 2, Episode 11, the one that had not yet killed Barry's mother. I've explained how he could return a few times. But yeah, he's basically, I guess he is from a different timeline, but I still think he could return just because of original Matt Letcher, Eobard Thawne that return in Season 8 from, I guess, Legends or, Flashpoint. I don't know what they're going with in Season 8. I don't know what timeline they're saying that he's from, but he is from a different timeline. So that's why I think the Season 2 version of Reverse Flash could still return. And here's what I think could happen. So basically in Season 2, that version of Reverse Flash, Barry and Team Flash had to throw him into the future. And then eventually we know that version of Reverse Flash would go on to kill Barry's mother. But there's a huge gap in between him being thrown into the future and him going to kill Barry's mother. We really don't know what happens in between that time. So I think this could be what happens. Maybe he returns in the Flash Season 9, and then eventually toward the end of the season, we get to see them go back once again to kill Barry's mother. I think that would be really interesting. Now, even if none of this happens and Reverse Flash actually doesn't even return, I think they still need to somehow show us, the events that led up to the Flash and the Reverse Flash going back to that night. Maybe we get a look at the original timeline or something like that. I think that would be so cool, just seeing like what actually happened before Barry's mother was murdered. Like, how did Reverse Flash figure out the Flash's identity? Stuff like that. I really hope that we get something in regard to that. Now, as for Barry, I don't know, maybe the perfect ending would be him fading away from existence and becoming the very lightning bolt that strikes himself in the first place, just like the comics. I think that would be really cool. Obviously, we presume that may have happened to original Timeline Flash, although this obviously would not be original Timeline Flash unless they somehow say that it is. I think that would be cool as well. But yeah, I think that would be a really good ending for the Flash. But yeah, just to recap, the first 5 episodes would be Cobalt Blue focused. The next 3 episodes, episodes 6 through 8, would be about Bloodwork, Zoom, and Godspeed all teaming up. And then the final 5 episodes, episodes 9 through 13, would be all about original Reverse Flash and them eventually going back in time to that night, as well as a Reverse Flash origin story. Of course, Reverse Flash would be played by Matt Letcher. But yeah, also we got to see some returning characters. I mean, there's probably going to be, the main cast is going to be there. Iris, Chester's going to be there. We already know those two will confirm be there. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Caitlyn as well. I completely forgot to talk about her. But what I think should happen is, maybe a little Killer Frost. Maybe she's like a secondary main villain or something like that. I think a more likely option, though, is like a mix between Caitlyn and Frost is what she becomes. I think that could, maybe happen there. So some other characters that I'd like to see return, obviously Joe is going to be in a few episodes, not like every episode, but a few episodes, and Cecile, she's probably going to be there, although notice how I did not include any episodes just focused on Cecile or Allegra. I think, Eric Wallace should take notes about that. But anyway, some other characters I think should return. I think at least Oliver and Kara should return, just for like a split second at least. I think that would be so cool. Maybe we get like one more scene with all of them at the Hall of Justice. Obviously, Oliver's dead, so how could he be there? Maybe in the form of the Spectre or something like that. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. Maybe Barry would go into the afterlife to see Oliver. Something like that would be pretty interesting. But yeah, Kara should be there as well. Those are like the trinity of the Arrowverse. They should be together one last time. I think that'd be so cool. And maybe even Sarah Lance. She's basically she was the main character of Legends pretty much. So if she was there as well, that'd be great. But yeah, if any of these things happen in The Flash Season 9, I would not be disappointed. But anyways, I'd say that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this video down below, as well as your thoughts on what you guys think should happen in the 13 episodes we have for Season 9. And I'll see you guys in the next video.